My name is Dr. Rebecca Ashford, and I'm 34 years old. 6 years ago, my family didn't come to my wedding. Not because they lived far away. Not because they couldn't afford it. Because they thought I was marrying beneath me. My husband, Marcus, worked in a warehouse. Loading docks. Inventory. Forklift certified. My parents called him the warehouse guy. My sister posted on Facebook that I'd settled for modest, and she wouldn't waste a Saturday on it. 43 people came to our wedding. My family wasn't among them. 3 weeks ago, my sister sent me an email with a subject line, "Urgent, do you know anyone at Children's Mercy Hospital?" She didn't know I was the chief operating officer. She didn't know Marcus was the director of medical logistics for the entire hospital system. And she definitely didn't know that her daughter's life was about to depend on my signature. Before I tell you what I wrote back, take a moment to like and subscribe to her silence. This is where we share stories of women who stayed silent while their families talked, then watched those same families come back when they needed something only silence can build. Drop your city and local time in the comments. Now let me take you back to the wedding day my family called too modest to attend. Kansas City, Missouri. 8 years ago. I was 26, finishing my MBA in healthcare administration at UMKC. Marcus was 28, working inventory management at a medical supply warehouse. We met when I was doing a case study project on supply chain efficiency in hospitals. His warehouse distributed to 14 hospitals across 3 states. I interviewed him for my research. He knew more about medical logistics than anyone I'd ever met. How fast a trauma center burns through type O negative blood. How long surgical mesh can sit in storage before expiration. Which suppliers cut corners and which ones saved lives. I was studying healthcare systems. He was living them. 6 months later, we were engaged. I told my parents at Sunday dinner. My father, Donald, a retired insurance executive, set down his fork. What does he do? He works in medical supply logistics. My mother, Patricia, tilted her head. Is that corporate? He works in a warehouse. The table went quiet. My sister, Vanessa, 4 years younger and newly promoted to marketing manager at a tech firm, looked at me like I'd just announced I was joining a cult. A warehouse. You're marrying a warehouse worker. He manages inventory for hospital systems. Becky. My mother's voice was soft. Dangerous. You have an MBA. You could work anywhere. Are you sure this is the right fit? I'm sure. My father leaned back. We're not saying he's a bad person. We're saying you have options. The wedding was planned for 6 months later. Small. Courthouse ceremony. Reception at a community hall. We paid for it ourselves. $4,200 total. Buffet-style dinner. A friend DJ'd. My dress was $380 from a boutique in Westport. 2 weeks before the wedding, my mother called. Your father and I have decided not to attend. I held the phone away from my ear for 3 seconds. Put it back.
Why?
Honey, this wedding doesn't reflect the life we raised you for.
It's modest.
And we think if we attend, we're endorsing a decision you're going to regret. Marcus isn't a decision. He's a person. We love you, but we can't support this. She hung up. 3 days later, Vanessa posted on Facebook. Some people settle. Some people wait for the right match. I'm grateful I was raised to know the difference. 43 people came to our wedding. My college roommate was my maid of honor. Marcus's brother was his best man. Our coworkers, our friends, people who showed up because they loved us, not because the venue was impressive. My family sent nothing. No card. No call. No text. After the wedding, I changed my name. Rebecca Ashford became Rebecca Langford. New last name. New LinkedIn. New life. I sent one email to my parents. Subject. We're married. Body. I hope someday you'll meet the man you refuse to know. I never got a reply. For 6 years, I heard nothing. No birthdays. No holidays. Radio silence. But here's what they didn't know. I wasn't sitting still. Marcus took a job as logistics coordinator at Children's Mercy Hospital. Within 2 years, He was managing the entire supply chain for their surgical wing. Within 4, he was director of medical logistics for the hospital system, 18 locations, $240 million in annual supplies. I worked my way up from healthcare analyst to operations manager to assistant COO. Last year, I became chief operating officer of Children's Mercy's main campus. I oversee every major decision, budget allocations, department expansions, and insurance pre-approvals for surgeries over $100,000. My family had no idea. We weren't on social media. We didn't send Christmas cards. We lived our lives quietly, successfully, without them. And then 3 weeks ago, Vanessa's daughter, Emily, age 4, was diagnosed with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, a rare congenital defect. Only 3 hospitals in the country specialize in the surgery she needed. One of them was Children's Mercy Hospital. Vanessa's insurance required pre-approval from the hospital's COO for any surgery over $250,000. Emily's surgery was estimated at $340,000. That's when I got the email. Becky, I know we haven't talked in years. I'm reaching out because my daughter Emily needs emergency heart surgery and Children's Mercy is one of the only hospitals that can do it. Insurance says I need approval from their chief operating officer for the costs. Do you know anyone there? Any connections? This is life or death. Please, Vanessa. I read it 3 times.
She didn't know.
She had no idea. I checked the hospital's patient portal. Emily's case file was already in the system. Submitted 2 days ago. Pediatric cardiology had reviewed it. Dr. Ortiz, one of the best surgeons in the country, had accepted the case. All it needed was my signature. I sat at my desk for 11 minutes, staring at that email. Marcus came home that night. I showed him. He read it, set the phone down, looked at me. What do you want to do? I don't know. Yes, you do. I want to approve the surgery. I want Emily to get the care she needs. But I also want them to know who's approving it. He nodded. Then do both. If you've ever had someone come back only when they needed something, type 6 years in the comments. Because what I'm about to tell you is what happens when silence becomes power. I replied to Vanessa's email the next morning. I do know someone at Children's Mercy. I'll make sure Emily's case gets reviewed. Rebecca.
I didn't say how.
I didn't say who. 2 days later, Vanessa, my parents, and Emily arrived at the hospital for their consultation with Dr. Ortiz. I wasn't in the meeting. I didn't need to be. But hospital protocol required that before any surgery over $250,000, the family meet with administration to review costs, insurance, and timelines. That meeting was scheduled with me. My assistant Jordan walked them to my office. I watched on the hallway security monitor as they passed the directory board. Vanessa stopped, stared. Rebecca Langford, Chief Operating Officer. Her face went white. My mother looked at the name, then at Vanessa. Is that? Vanessa nodded. My father said nothing. Jordan opened my office door. Dr. Langford will see you now. I was standing behind my desk when they walked in. Navy suit. Hospital ID clipped to my jacket. Tablet in hand. Vanessa froze in the doorway. Rebecca? Dr. Langford.
Please sit down.
They sat. All 3 of them. Vanessa in the middle. My parents on either side. I stayed standing. You're here to discuss Emily's pre-approval for surgery. Dr. Ortiz has reviewed her case. The procedure is scheduled for next Thursday. Estimated cost is $340,000. Your insurance covers 80%, leaving a balance of $68,000. My mother's voice was small. You're the COO? I've been COO for 14 months. Before that, I was assistant COO for 3 years. My father leaned forward. Becky, we didn't know. That's apparent. Vanessa's hands were shaking. I didn't know you worked here.
You didn't ask.
The room went quiet. I pulled up Emily's file on my tablet. The surgery is approved. Dr. Ortiz is one of the top 5 pediatric cardiac surgeons in North America. Emily will have the best care possible. Vanessa started crying. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not doing this for you, Vanessa. I'm doing it for Emily. I slid a folder across the desk. Inside, You'll find the approval forms, the surgery timeline, and the financial breakdown. You'll also find a printed copy of a Facebook post from 6 years ago. Vanessa opened the folder. Her face crumbled. It was her post. Some people settle. Some people wait for the right match. Below it, I'd attached a hospital memo. Emily's surgery requires 14 specialized pieces of equipment. All of them were procured, inspected, and delivered by Marcus Langford, Director of Medical Logistics for Children's Mercy Hospital System. The warehouse worker you mocked is the reason we can save your daughter's life. My father's hands went flat on the table. I looked at Vanessa. You called my wedding too modest to attend. You posted that I settled. You didn't come because you were embarrassed by the man I married. I turned to my parents. And you stayed home because you thought I was making a mistake. My mother started to speak. I held up one hand. Marcus and I built this. We worked 60-hour weeks. We took night classes. We didn't post about it. We didn't brag. We just did the work. And now, 6 years later, you're sitting in my office asking me to save your granddaughter's life. Vanessa whispered, I'm sorry. I know you are.
Now.
I signed the approval form, handed it to her. Emily's surgery is Thursday at 7 a.m. Be here by 5:30 for pre-op. Dr. Ortiz will walk you through everything. If you have questions, Jordan can help you. I stood. The meeting was over. Vanessa didn't move. Can we talk? After this? We just did. I walked to the door. Opened it. They stood. Filed out. At the threshold, my father turned back. I'm proud of you. I looked at him. Really looked.
You're proud now.
6 years ago, you were embarrassed. He didn't have an answer for that. Emily's surgery was successful. 8 hours. No complications. She spent 4 days in pediatric ICU, then another week in recovery. Dr. Ortiz told Vanessa and my parents that Emily's prognosis was excellent. 95% chance of full recovery. Vanessa sent me an email the day Emily was discharged. Thank you for saving her. I don't know how to apologize for what we did, but I'm trying. I didn't reply. Marcus and I had dinner that night at the same restaurant where we celebrated our first anniversary. The one my family thought was too casual for people with degrees.
He ordered the steak.
I ordered the salmon. We didn't talk about the hospital. We didn't talk about my family. We talked about the trip we were planning to Portugal, about the ceramic class I'd signed up for on weekends, about the new coffee blend he'd found at the farmer's market. Normal things. Because our life was normal. Quietly successful. Built brick by brick without an audience. 3 months later, my mother called. First time in 6 years. I'd like to meet Marcus.
Why now?
Because I was wrong. And I want to say that to his face. I told Marcus. He said it was my choice. We met them for lunch. A diner in Westport. The same neighborhood where I bought my wedding dress. My mother shook Marcus's hand. Looked him in the eye. I'm sorry I didn't come to your wedding. I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance. You saved my granddaughter's life, and I never even said thank you. Marcus nodded. Emily's surgery was a team effort. I just made sure the right tools were there. That's more than a small thing. He smiled. I know. We didn't rebuild the relationship overnight. We didn't erase 6 years. But my mother started sending Christmas cards again. My father called on my birthday. Vanessa invited us to Emily's 5th birthday party. We went. We brought a gift. We stayed for an hour. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. Here's what I learned. Some people don't see your value until they need it. And that's okay. You don't owe them access just because they finally figured out what you're worth. But you also don't have to punish them forever. I approved Emily's surgery because she was a child who needed help. Not because I forgave my family. Not because I forgot what they did. Because at her silence, we know that power isn't about revenge. It's about choosing when to speak, when to act, and when to let your work do the talking. If this story reminded you that your family's opinion of you doesn't define your worth, type her silence in the comments. And if you've ever been underestimated by the people who are supposed to believe in you most, share this with someone who gets it. Thank you for staying until the end. That's what we do here at Her Silence. We honor the women who didn't wait for approval to build their lives.